say if you punch someone, I would like to see that, by the way. It just seems like I'm just picturing it in my head, just some guy in a Wicked shirt beating the shit out of like 20 people. But I don't. If you were to punch someone or say damage to a door or a wall or something, even if you didn't feel that at that moment, you still were affected by that, i.e. your hand breaks or you touch your skin or something like that. And when you do come around later, you're certainly going to feel it, which isn't going to be the case. And that's true if you black out too. That's not going to be the case if you die, because if you die, you don't wake up.
Yeah.
Do you say that some people die?
No, yeah, there are certain cases like that, but I'm talking about when you're dead for sure. None of this, dead coming back nonsense. You're dead.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Crystal.
Yeah, people, not everyone comes back after
I
death.
don't know if that's what, Crystal?
Excuse me. Crystal!
So all I'm trying to say is that you do experience things even when you don't think you do.
Yeah, more devil's advocacy. I was just trying to approach the idea of memory being important to this discussion, and I figured that, at least in some meaningful sense, contradicts that.
Well, recollection, it's my understanding, it does play sort of an essential role for materialism, especially if we take materialism to be, namely that somebody needs to recollect something in order for it to exist. In that sense, materialism is not to be exactly understood by the experience itself. It's supposed to be understood in physical terms. But nonetheless, the accident, I mean, if you want to take recollection to be, put it apart with that, I think that it does pose a problem, because that means if you don't see a tree behind you fall, and there's no evidence of it after somebody, janitors and people just sweep it up, and you turn around all of a sudden it's gone, then there's no actual, and if there's no evidence, basically is what I'm trying to get to. If there's no evidence that it fell, then it probably doesn't exist in your reality. And that's something that I think an absurdity that may, I guess, arise in, a material sense when you're construing recollection in sort of a materialistic, environment.
What about Alzheimer's? He said it. That's not me. I got to give all credit to him. But if you're going to take that position, not you, but anyone who takes that position, you have to contend with the obstacle of Alzheimer's. If that's true, you're saying that people with Alzheimer's, not you specifically, if that's true, people are saying that people who have Alzheimer's really just kind of live in a second-to-second basis. Or what about anterograde memory loss, where you can't form new memories? And essentially, the world only lasts for 30 seconds at a time. But that's not true, because if you were watching, like say you had anterograde memory loss, and we're watching you stumble around forgetting, saying the same shit every 30 seconds because you keep forgetting it. We know that you said that 30 seconds ago. We know you said that a minute ago. We know what you did a minute ago, even if you don't remember it. So the world doesn't just end when you shut your eyes, or in this case, you happen to forget or lose your memory. And it's because of those things that I don't believe, or I don't get behind the idea that recollection is essential for proof of existence.
Well, then what do you get when you're faced with, I'm just playing devil's advocate in this one, but the sophists who are going to say that, okay, so for instance, I keep blanking out, and I keep saying the same shit as you're saying, multiple times. And then all of a sudden, you're saying that, no, because all of us, we have a lot of evidence. You're clearly mistaken that, you obviously you don't have the ability to recollect. Then I look at you and say, well, actually, my experience of everything I'm seeing is very different than yours. So in my reality, which it's like a separate shell, bubble or something,
right,
is very different than yours, even though you're experiencing a copy or a duplicate or something.
Right, but then the only thing we can say after that's been said is that, well, then we're just talking right past each other, because we're trying to argue for what is life and what is death. And in our reality, the non-Alzheimer's, non-anterograde memory loss, we all have the same perceptions of the same reality. We know what you did a minute ago because we all saw it. You don't. You have no capacity to understand that. Yeah. So there's no way that we could, if you're forgetting things every 30 seconds, there's no way that we could prove to you, even if we did prove to you and we got you to believe that you were wrong, or that we all, not wrong, that we were all having a different reality, you'd forget it 30 seconds later. So there's no way we could prove to you that your reality is different from ours. So you can have whatever life or death you want in your reality. Or that would be my answer to the sophists, is that, look, man, after that point, there's nothing that we can talk about anymore, because if you want to believe that we all have separate realities, it's more like you have a separate reality and the rest of us are sharing the same plane of existence.
In which case, they're probably going to forget about that.
Right,
yeah. In the next 30 seconds.
Oh, okay, well, I'm going to go have some nachos now.
This is a real question. Does anybody know what salt is? Like, it has no clue actually what it is?
Solipsism?
Yeah, there's probably, I'm assuming there's people that doesn't even know what.
I'm glad you made the distinction, exactly.
Yeah.
Solipsism really fast is where people doubt their own existence, basically. That they come
No,
to...
actually,
No, solipsism,
Solipsism?
the
Yeah.
only thing they can prove is themselves.
they think they're the only ones who
Oh,
exist.
yeah.
Inverted.
Excuse me.
They're the only ones who exist, and everyone, like, for example, take yourself an example, like, let's say everyone else in the room, they're not really live themselves, you made them up in your own head, and you're just creating everything as you see. That's a person who's solipsist. If you were to believe in that, a person is usually finding people like that who are like psychologically like wrong, I would say, or just I don't know.
Anyone ever
Anyways,
play video games? Anyone ever play Fallout 3?
Little.
Okay, well there's a part in that that actually kind of segues nicely into this. You are in this virtual reality chamber that is populated with 8 or 10 other people in isolated pods. And they're in this, virtual universe, and you get hooked into it. And it's all being run by this one guy. And he has pretty much made this virtual utopia a dystopia and fucked everything up. And he is controlling, in so many words, everyone else around him by his, what he dictates how they act, how they think, what they do, in a very loose, very poorly analogized sense. That's what solipsism is. The belief that you're all acting in a way that, even unconsciously, I'm projecting to you. You're just, phantoms. I'm the only one that actually exists, or the one I can only prove that I actually exist. And that goes for you and you and you. That's depending on the individual. It's always that the self exists. It's ridiculous.
It's the complex.
Yeah, in so many words. Yeah. That's a better explanation than my long-winded Fallout 3.
All right, I like all the activity that's going on, but I think that we're gonna something beautiful about philosophy is that you start with something initially, you drive immediately to the other train. So I think we've been really speculating and refuting a lot of arguments for materialism. I think we should also move on a little bit to immaterialism and hopefully not stay too long. But
25 minutes.
yeah, so immaterialism. Why don't we start a discussion about that? So my understanding about materialism is that it's not, you could interpret it as just the way that you have the materialistic idea of the self, although it's not necessarily, there's no meaning, it's an absurdity beyond that. This one actually has a reason for it. It could be an afterlife, it could be that, there's all sorts of, I guess, religious or non-religious ideas about immaterial notions, about who the self is and where it's going, if it's going anywhere, if it could be altered in different realities and still be said to exist. So the immaterial part of the body, if you're going to say that somebody could die immaterially, you're saying that that person is losing that special, unique thing that they call the soul or the mind or whatever that is. In a material sense, when you die here, that means that all of your body is consciously and everything is kind of just cut out. So, anybody have any ideas about materialism, immaterialism? Beautiful.
I know that this isn't an official meeting and we can't vote on this, but you just brought something to my attention that I think needs to be unofficially voted on. I'm going to bring some dictionaries, philosophical dictionaries, just so, because I feel like the solipsism definition. The solipsism definition I think was wrong, the one that I gave, and I think we're kind of treading water on the material versus immaterial definitions. This way we can just kind of like go to it and make it a little bit easier.
All right. Aside from all, I guess.
Yeah. Back to material. Sorry about that.
Oh, it was a lot of fun talking about weed, but.
Material. Well, that's why we have to study materialism.
There you go. Well,
We want to get this and pretty much link it to death. So why is it? What time is it, guys?
5 minutes still. You got 4 minutes.
Wow. All right, let's compress the last half into immortality now. So, material and immaterialism. All I wanted you guys to understand is that this is different perspectives that people can look at life and interpret it that way. And if you understand what life is, then you know what it means to say that you're going to die at a certain point. If you construe it this way, the moment somebody pulls, the life support thing out of you, even though it's absurd to call that self-conscious that you have, anything meaningful, it still constitutes death because you pulled it out and whatever that reality you're experiencing is gone. Immaterially, that soul, if that dies, you're not going to a paradise if you believe in one. You're not going to anything, nothing meaningful, no other reality. And so if you construe death in one of these terms, then it's going to most likely kind of contribute to what you're going to say exactly when it comes to would you want to die now or live forever. And there's a whole lot of juice for this discussion because there's a lot I want to say about, well, what does it mean to say immortal now?